Hey, Sean, if you're anything like me, you either spend or have spent way too much time on social media. And this led me to make some serious changes like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then some even more sweeping changes this past spring. But I wanted to share what my process was, the 4 steps that I went through determining how to use social media for me. And the 2 things to really remember here are, 1, there are right answers all over the place for everyone. There is no, I'm not telling you what to do with any particular network or how to use them or what you should or shouldn't do. I think that these things have different value for different people, and these questions that I've been prompted to ask myself over the past couple years have helped me determine what's best for me. And the second thing is that you can change these from time to time. You're going to do an audit, and like anything that you would measure, this will give you a snapshot of what you need right now, which may be different in a pandemic as this is being recorded versus in 2 or 3 years, hopefully, when this is a memory. Our lives are going to change, and so at any point you can ask yourself these questions to determine how much of which social media platforms you should be using and how much is right for you. So here are the 4 questions to ask yourself. Number 1 sounds like it might be disqualifying and very binary, but it's not. Number 1 is look at the company or the platform and its policies on privacy and some other things, but look at what their impact on the world is and look at what they enable and what they maybe don't foster, and use that to decide, is this platform something you want to be a part of, something you want to support, something you want your content to help them earn money with. A company like Facebook, which for a long time didn't do anything to stop hate speech, or at least didn't do anything really meaningful to stop some serious momentum on hate speech, and people got killed. There's examples of what happened in Myanmar and even across the United States. There's places in the world where Facebook allowed people to hate and to target other individuals, and people were hurt and people were killed. And that's heinous. But unfortunately, it's not disqualifying. And it's something where Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and the rest of them have their problems, but they also have their value. They have genuine value. They help people. They help nonprofits raise money. They help connect family members and friends. They help unite people with common interests. They help people who are doing good work find other people to support them and join their causes. There is a lot of good that's going on. And so there is a balance. Number 1, again, it isn't disqualifying. It isn't a binary on and off, but you need to be aware of what these companies, what these platforms are doing, what their impact is around the world, and if you want to be a part of that. And if for you, the good outweighs the bad, great. Move forward, that's fine. But be aware of the bad and don't just approach these things with ignorance and give your content and therefore your value to these companies so that they can do with it what they will and make a lot of profit off of you that they may not spend in a way that resonates with your values and your priorities. Number 2, if the platform makes it through step 1 for you, the next question to ask is, how do they handle privacy? How do they handle your data? How much control do you have? How much ownership do you have? How protected, how backed up are their servers? Have they had hacking instances that have happened before? What sort of things are they doing to protect you? Because even if it's a fun platform where you're able to connect with people, if they're exploiting your data, selling things, maybe sensitive things, maybe audio recordings, there's all sorts of things that a company can do with your data. Be familiar with it, and it may mean reading the terms and conditions, that long volume of awful legalese that you don't even scroll through before you click agree if you're like most people. Read through some of that, or look for people who have curated what those elements are, and make a decision of, do you want to give your data to this company? Do you trust this company with your information, with photos of you, with your likeness, with your voice, with your location, with the GPS of where your phone goes every night, therefore they know where you live, even if you don't put your address there? Are you sharing that information with them, and what are they doing with it? Consider that, and then make your decision of whether that platform is something you can trust with your data. And if it is, Maybe it's where you trust it with some of your data and not with other parts of data. You can use these platforms to varying degrees. It isn't necessarily all or nothing, but that second question can help you identify what you're going to share on these platforms and how you're going to use them. Question 3 is the most important question, and this is the one that really, more than the others, affected my decision to leave social media. I deleted my Facebook and Instagram accounts, and it's permanent. I can never have Colonel Sean on Instagram again. I will never get back my followers, and that's fine. That's what I want. But it's because my answer to question 3 led me there very easily. And question 3 is, ideally, what do you get out of the experience? And it's different for everybody. And again, there are no wrong answers here. Maybe you're trying to become an influencer and you need as many likes and as much exposure as you can get. Maybe you're trying to connect with friends from your past or meet new people. Maybe you're using it to stay connected with your family, to share photos of your kids and your vacations and things like that. Maybe you run your business from it and you need to get more exposure for your sales. And whatever you do with it, have the conversation with yourself to say, what do I want out of this? What do I get out of this? Am I looking for smiles? Am I looking for connection? Am I looking for revenue? Am I looking for exposure and momentum? Whatever these things are, you need to be honest with yourself so that you can make the decision of how you use it. And for me personally, I wanted revenue. I wanted to build my Instagram in particular. I deleted my Facebook about 2 years ago just because I was spending too much time on it and I didn't think it really did anything for me. It was skewing more and more political, and that was probably based on my activity and what was resonating with me, but I recognized that it wasn't good for me. I wasn't really having any social connections out of it. It wasn't the people that I'm friends with I talk to, and so I wasn't communicating with anyone solely through Facebook. So Facebook left, but with Instagram, I was trying to build a following for my company. I was trying to get more exposure as a filmmaker, as a YouTuber. I would share thumbnails of my videos and things like that, and I would try to get attention. And after a while, I realized that I wasn't getting any, and nothing I ever posted turned into work for me. Nothing became a referral. Even when my posts got hundreds and hundreds of likes, nothing ever really converted into someone reaching out and tapping me to shoot their documentary or work with them. All of my work connections, all of my revenue still came from word of mouth and from referrals of my existing clients. So all this work I was putting into and this time every day that I was spending trying to promote myself wasn't worth it. So if you're looking for social connections and things, that's entirely different, and that has value, and you shouldn't minimize that, but you should recognize it and see, is that something that you want to put the energy into, or is it something that you don't want to put the energy into? Lastly, number 4 is if a platform makes it through these first 3 layers, if they're a company you can agree to give your data to and you trust that they'll take care of it and it's going to give you something that means something to you, then question 4 is, how much time do you want to spend on that platform? And if you want to spend hours, that's fine. That's totally fine. But ask yourself how much time you want to spend at the end of the day, at the end of a week, a month, a year, whatever. How much time do you want to look back and have spent on that platform? And whether that's interacting with your fans, whether that's commenting on friends and family's photos, whether that's following the creators that you follow, or whether it's just scrolling for whatever's put in front of you, whether you're getting jazzed up because you're seeing political stuff that gets you really fired up and you like that feeling, whatever the reason you're on it, how much time do you want to spend on it? And pick an answer and use your device, your computer, your phone, whatever, to set some limits. And if you want to break those limits, that's totally fine. But pick a number and say, hey, I want to spend 1 hour of my day every day looking at Instagram or looking at Facebook, or an hour combined on Snapchat and TikTok. Figure out what these numbers are and sort of zoom out and look at your life and say, how much of my time do I want to invest? What percentage of my life do I want to spend staring at this? And again, I sound judgmental, but I'm not. There is a value here. There is a connection. There are emotions that come out of this that are important and that are good. And if you want to spend time on that, please do. But admit to yourself how much time that is, and then use your device to set limits. And even if you exceed them, these networks are designed to keep our attention, even if it's attention that you're okay with and it's giving you value. too much of a good thing can be bad. And if you all of a sudden have spent 10 hours staring at your Instagram feed, you're probably not going to feel great about that. Again, unless you're using it to build revenue and it's a part of your life in that way. But recognize that, set some limits so that your phone or your computer will remind you after 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hey, you're able to keep using it, but know that you have been scrolling Facebook for 30 minutes already today. And for me, that's what I did with Instagram. I set myself 15 minutes. I said 15 minutes a day is fine. And I typically hit that 15 minutes before breakfast every day, and then I would skip it. And I would say, okay, another 15 minutes. You can remind me again. And I would do this throughout the day. And it made sense to me at the time, but then I would get to the end of the week and I'd see my screen report and see like, hey, this week I spent 11 hours on Instagram. And to me, that was crazy. I didn't want to look back on my life and say, hey, every month I spent 40 hours. I spent a work week scrolling Instagram. And based on my answer to number 3, I wasn't getting any value out of it. I wasn't getting personal connections. I wasn't I wasn't networking or anything like that. I wasn't getting work from it. So my goal for it was not being met in spite of me putting hours and hours into the platform. And depending on the answers to 1 and 2, those hours turn into revenue for that company, and that they didn't support what I thought is important for me and my community. And so that made the decision for me of, hey, I don't want to spend any time not getting the value I'm looking for, the experience I'm looking for with a company that I don't quite trust to do the right thing. And so for that reason, I've left most social media platforms. I maintain my LinkedIn because I have gotten work from that. And I maintain my YouTube, which I love, and I spend time on that, and I enjoy talking to the commenters, even the people who say mean things. But that's an outlet for my creativity, and that has value to me. And Google isn't great, but I'm okay with what I get out of it and with what other people get out of it for what they do that isn't great or that could be better. I'm fine with what they do with my data because I choose very carefully what I post, and I don't share my location typically. I'm very cautious with what I share with Google. I'm looking for connection and exposure, and YouTube gives it to me in a way that I feel like is appropriate for the time I spend doing it, and creating videos is good practice for what I do, and it's what I enjoy doing. And I cap my YouTube check-in time at 20 minutes a day, and if I'm on YouTube for more than that, I get a notification that say, you've already spent 20 minutes on YouTube. And I can say, well, I want to answer a couple more comments, so I'll stay around for a minute. Or I can say, you know what? That's enough for today. I'm going to get back to the other things that I want to do with my life. So make your own decisions for what networks you want to be on. I don't know anything about most of the networks now, which is kind of fun and a happy, ignorant place to be for me. But if you're on these networks, or if you want to be on these networks, run them through those 4 questions and see, is it something that you want to spend your time doing? And if so, how much time do you want to spend doing it? That's all I got. If you have thoughts about what you've done with social media, or how you've changed your habits, or what you've had to do because you were addicted like I was, I would love to hear any bit of your story that you'd be willing to share with me. And this video and the answers that I've come to, I put a rough draft out on my podcast, and I thank there were 4 people who reached out and gave me feedback after they listened to the podcast on things they liked, things that could be tweaked, and I took all that into consideration to make this video. And if you want to be a part of listening to these things ahead of time and sharing your thoughts and helping shape what I put into these final videos, I'd love to hear from you. Check out the Colonel Sean podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'll put a couple links in the description below. And feel free to shoot me a message after you listen to something, and I use that to have a conversation, to expand my own perspective, and then I do my best to turn that into a video that I articulate decently. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of this. See you later. Bye.